Hello everyone, this is Enhander from fearpaintball.net, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Airgun Designs warp feed system designed for their guns. As you can see, I have it set up here on my AGD EMAG. Let me show you, this is the warp feed right here. Warp feed was designed to bring the hopper off the top of the gun. As you can see, I have my egg mounted on it, and give you a clear line of sight on the top of your gun. It also helps to give you the ability to shoot on both sides of the bunkers without having to switch hands. A lot of people have been asking me about what the warp feed is, how it works, what's the benefit of it. So I'm going to try to describe that a little bit to you guys today. Your basic warp feed setup is going to come with, of course, the warp feed itself. Now the warp comes in several different colors. This is a smoke. I believe AGD also offers red, blue, clear, and one other color, purple I think. Does not come with a hopper. You have to, provide the hopper yourself. You get the piece that hooks into the tube and the warp right there, the adapter. You get this black warp hose, and you get the piece that goes into the warp adapter. Now this is not the stock warp adapter that you will get with the warp setup if you buy one. This is a Pro Team warp adapter. I believe it retails anywhere from $15 to $20 because it is all aluminum. It's not plastic. Now the one that you get with the warp feed is plastic. It also is clear, so you can actually see the paintballs going down into the breech. I just chose the Pro Team one. I had it lying around. I bought it a long time ago. It's all aluminum. It matches the rest of the gun because it's black. Now I think what I'm going to do soon here is replace this black hose with hose from a Q-loader, so it would be clear, just to see the balls be able to go up there, make sure there's no jams. So basically what we got here, put the balls in the hopper, turn the hopper on, and the paint is going to go down. Let me show you here. It's basically what we got going on. Put the paint in the hopper, turn the hopper on. Paint is going to go down into the warp. Now the warp is operated by two discs on the inside here that grab the paint and force feed it up the hose and in. Now standard warp, you have a 9-volt setup, just one 9-volt battery, and that is good for about 12 to 15 balls a second. I was shooting it yesterday on 15 balls a second PSP ramping, and it kept up just fine. So one 9-volt goes in here, and I'll show you guys all this in the internals of the warp here in a little bit. In here, and what you're going to have to do when you first put the paintballs in the hopper, you turn the hopper on. The paintballs are going to go down to here. Well, there's a button on the back of your warp right here that you push to manually force feed those first balls from the hopper around and up into the tube and into the breech. Now once you get all those in there, it'll be loaded and ready to go. Now the warp feed comes with several different settings, and they're all controlled via a control panel back here on the back side of the warp. Now with an electronic marker like the EMAG AGD built a special cord that would plug into the board on the EMAG and run down. There's an input jack on the bottom of the warp back here as well, and it would plug into that. Now what that would do is when you turn the warp on, or when you turn the gun on and you're running the gun in electronic mode, electronic or hybrid for an EMAG, it would register on every trigger pull to tell the warp to spin. Well, of course you have guns like their RT Classic, you have the TAC 1, any kind of gun that had a didn't have an electronic board, but it's still, if you didn't have an electronic board and you still wanted to use the warp, they made something for that as well, and it was called the vibration sensor. The vibration sensor is also set back here on the electronics board of the warp, and what it does is it registers the gun per vibration. So when I run my gun on mechanical only, like I have to at some fields, on every trigger pull, the vibration itself is sent, or the warp senses that vibration due to that sensor and spins. It was really neat. Now, when I had a warp feed set up on my EMAG or my TAC-1, of course the TAC-1 is not an electronic marker, so the IntelliFeed, or the not the IntelliFeed, that's the core that you have to get. The grip setup, which I'm drawing a blank to what it's called now, but off Loose Customs he makes his own IntelliFeed switches for that grip that's on the EMAG, or on the TAC-1, I'm sorry. And you'd basically open the grip up, you'd install that small switch that he made and plug it in just like I have back here on the input jack, just like I have the switch for the EMAG. But what that did, the IntelliFrame, that's the name of the switch, or the name of the grip frame on the TAC-1. That switch, or that frame, was designed to have that switch installed in it. And when you install it on the warp and you plug that into the input jack, it would spin on every trigger pull. So if in the event that your vibration sensor broke or anything along that lines, the IntelliSwitch was meant to be there. Every trigger pull that you take, it would spin. Now, having said all that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the back of the warp here. I'll show you what we got going on here. Here's the back side I have of the warp. Now, right here is where the electronics board is. I'll open that up in just a second. This is the EMAG warp right. Well, it would be listed on their website as just a warp or EMAG harness for the warp. They do make a longer version of this if you are a left-hand shooter. The warp is also, as you can see, let me see if I can, on that mounting plate that goes into the drop forward. You see that there? That's what mounts the warp to the gun, and you can mount it either on the right or left-hand side of the gun. And then they do make if you have an EMAG and you're a left-hand shooter, or if you have any kind of a mag actually and you're a left-hand shooter, you can just move this to the left-hand side of the marker, and buy that. If you have an EMAG, buy that cord for the left hand. It's, I think, $1 or $2 more than what this one is, and it's just a little bit longer of a cord. But like I show you here, it's mounted to the gun via that mounting plate, and up here, if you can see, yeah, right there, you can adjust how the warp feed sits on there depending on what hopper that you want to put on here. I've seen a lot of people run ricochet hoppers, halo bees, any kind of those any kind of those. You can just adjust this around to where you want it to be. I'm considering getting a different hopper for it, just because the egg sits so far back when I'm trying to shoot around tight corners and stuff. It's a little hard because the egg's right there in my face. Now I love the egg hopper. Most of you guys see it in a lot of our videos. It's never broke down on me or anything, so I hadn't had a reason to buy another hopper. But it might have to take a back seat here, and I'll get something new. But I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I'm going to open up the electronics board. As you can see, there are 3 screws. Now, you don't want to take these in and out all too often because they do go into plastic, and eventually that plastic will get wore down if they're tightened too much or anything like that. But I'm going to go ahead and pop this off here and let you guys see the inside where the jumpers are, and I'll explain all that when we open it up.